Hey guys, what's up? It's iFlynn here, and welcome to episode 8 of my Warframe Beginners Guide for 2025. The first thing that we're going to do in today's episode is actually do the Mastery Rank 8 test, but I don't have enough Mastery to actually do the MR8 test because it's been Christmas break, so I need to level some weapons. So I'm going to come into my foundry, and I'm just going to claim a bunch of stuff. So I don't have enough slots to go ahead and claim the Deimos right now, so the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take a look at my equipment. Now, I know that I don't need the MK1 Bratton, so I'll get rid of that. I also know that I'm not going to need the Heat Sword, so I'll get rid of that. I don't need the Volcar, so that can go. The Broken Scepter, I literally never use, so I'm going to get rid of that. I don't care about using the Dex Nakana, so I'm going to get rid of that as well. But you might not want to get rid of the Dex Nakana because it is an anniversary weapon, so if you like collecting things, you can keep it, but I don't personally care, so I'm getting rid of it. I don't need the Fragger at all. I don't need the regular Paris at all. I don't need the regular Burstin, but the majority of the other stuff I do need for some reason or another. I guess I could also get rid of the regular Boar as well. So I'm going to go ahead and sell all of these weapons that I've got in my inventory like that. And now I'm just going to come in here and claim a bunch of stuff. So Deimos, Anku, Dracoon, Fang. I'm going to go ahead and pick up my Necros and also this mag as well. So now I've got a bunch of stuff to level. So I'm just going to play Sanctuary Onslaught and Elite Sanctuary Onslaught until it's all max rank. Okay, so what I went and did is I literally leveled everything that I had. So if we come to my arsenal here, you can see my mag is level 30. My Necros is level 30. All of the weapons that I've got are now level 30. So the Dracoon, what secondary did I have? I was leveling the Deimos, that's level 30. And all of the melee weapons that I had are now at level 30 as well. So I'm going to go ahead and throw together a loadout real quick that looks a little bit like this. And now I'm going to go ahead and do the Mastery Rank 8 test. So this test is simply just a parkour test, and you have to shoot the little ball that's in front of you to spawn it in the platform, and then you just jump on the platform. Just make sure not to fall off the map, because if you fall off the map, you're going to fail an attempt. Maybe picking the Deimos wasn't the best thing, but we still made it work, and we're now MR8. So after I've hit MR8, the next thing that I want to pay attention to is my standing with my syndicates, and also all of the open world environments. So that's over on Earth in Cetus, over on Venus at Fortuna, and then over in Deimos in Necrolisk. The most important out of all of them is definitely Necrolisk, so I'm going to go ahead and head here first. So I'm heading over here and I'm talking to Mother, I'm pressing Entrati standing, and I can see that after about 13,000 more standing, I'll be able to rank up to rank 3, and I need to take a look at, what I need to progress on to rank 3. So I need to get 5 common Evicia tags, I need to get 1 Medjay Predacite tag. I gotta have a Mother token and a Sun token. Okay, so to get Sun tokens, we gotta come over to Sun over here, and we have to go ahead and we have to press not trade tags, but capture Deimos wildlife, and we'll be able to trade some of the tags that we've got for some of the tokens. So I'm going to go ahead and choose this one because this is the one that I've seemed to have the most tags for. And I'm able to get this simply because I've been running around and shooting wildlife with the tranq rifle while I'm doing bounties and stuff like that. And sometimes some of them just randomly go down. So you can go ahead and pick them up. And then you should be able to trade for some tokens. So that's a Sun token obtained and out of the way. Now the other thing that we needed was a special type of Predacite. So you can see here that we've actually picked up the Predacite Echo Lure in a previous episode for 1,000 standing, but we need to get a rare type. So what we want to do is we want to go ahead and get a few of these pheromone glands. So I'm just going to go ahead and pick up 5. So hopefully we get it within 5 attempts. And you also want to make sure that you've got the Evicia Echo Lure as well. You don't need the pheromone gland for that one because we just need the common version. Now, what I want you guys also to do is come to your arsenal, go to your gear wheel, and then implying you've been following along, you should be able to go ahead and equip the Arcwing Launcher now because we crafted the Arcwing Launcher segment, and then we crafted the Arcwing Launcher in our foundry, so we can now equip that to our gear wheel. Now, if you come into the Cambion Drift and you go ahead, you open up your gear wheel, you press Arcwing Launcher, you should now be able to equip your Arcwing and just go ahead and fly about. Now, this is important because one of the wildlife that we have to capture for the tags actually flies, and that's the Avicia. So if you go ahead and you bring out the Trank Rifle, and you have the Equiler in your hand, you're going to be able to open up the map and then see exactly where you got to go to spawn in this wildlife. So hunting is pretty annoying because obviously enemies are going to attack you while you're trying to hunt. So you either want to go ahead and kill the enemies that are around you, or just go ahead and get a frame that can go invisible before you attempt to do this. I'm just going to go ahead and kill everything that's around for now. So I'm going to bring back out my Trank Rifle, and I'm going to be looking around on the ground for some animal poop of the animal that I need to hunt. So it says Avicia Trail Start Point. We go ahead, we kill the enemies that are around us before we start this. Then we just go ahead and we start it. We follow the little footprints on the ground. As you're following the footsteps, make sure to kill any of the enemies that come and try to annoy you. Eventually what's going to happen is you're going to get to the end of the trail and you're going to see the call point. Now what you want to do whenever you hit the call point is you want to bring out the echo lure for the specific animal that you're trying to spawn in. And you just want to go ahead and hold left click. The animal is going to make a sound back, and then your UI element is going to update. You just want to put your little like blue bar inside of the white bit, and then just follow the white bit with your joystick or your mouse. So I'm at the bottom here, so I'm going to pull up, and it's going to match the noise of the animal. Then I'm going to go ahead and whip out the Trank Rifle, and I can see that they're in the sky. So I need to go ahead, go on my Arcwing Launcher, make sure that your Trank Rifle is equipped because it brought out my gun. And I just want to go ahead and hit the birds that I spawned in. So if I can hit it, there we go. He's going to follow the ground. And then I just have to go ahead and pick them up. So there I got a common Avicia tag. And then over here, I'm going to get another common Avicia tag. Now, if you capture the animals without getting detected, the capture is going to be of higher quality, so you're going to get more tags. So, for example, if I go ahead and I capture this purple Velocipod here, that didn't detect me, right? So if I go ahead and I pick this up right now, what you're going to notice is that it's a perfect capture and I got 3 tags instead of the one that I got from the Avicias, right? So if you're just careful and you don't let the animals see you or let them know that you're there, well, you know, you're going to have to spend less time on doing this. So I'm just going to go ahead and capture more of these purple Velocipods because I know that I need some of the tags to craft the helmet segment, I'm pretty sure. So now we're going to do basically the exact same thing with a different type of animal, so the Predacite. So we just go ahead, we come to the poop point, and we go ahead and we follow the footsteps. Eventually, we make it to the call point. Now, what it says that we have to do with the other thing that we picked up is it says we deploy just before using the Echo Lure to increase the chance of attracting a rarer subspecies of Predacite. So if we just go ahead and we press free here, now we bring out the correct Echo Lure. We go ahead and we hold left click. Do the exact same thing. Just go ahead and keep the blue in the white. Then once you've done that, the animal will spawn in. So just aim down sights with your Trank Rifle and you'll see it. Just go ahead and shoot at it like so. It'll pass out and then you walk up to it and you can capture it. And there you go, we've got 3 of the Predacite tags. Now if I come back to Mother, I can see that I've got all the Avicia tags that I need. I've got all the Medjay Predacite tags that I need. I've got a Sun token. Now I just have to actually go and get the Mother token. So I have to do a bounty here in the Heart of Deimos to get these Mother tokens so I can increase my standing and also, you know, trade in 1 token to just rank up. So I'm going to go ahead and do one of the bounties now. I'm able to do the highest tier one with the loadout that I've got. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And just to show you guys the loadout that I'm running right now, so you can sort of like benchmark yourself and see where you're at. This is what I'm running on my vault. It's kind of sloppily thrown together, to be honest. It's just for speed, rush and mobilize for, you know, more parkour velocity, sprint speed, stuff like that. Equilibrium and streamline for your energy sustain, vitality for health, flow for more energy, continuity for duration, and intensify for strength. Your arcane doesn't matter, and the aura mod you should just have Dreamer's Bond on. I've got the Hex Shotgun here, and this is simply what I'm running on that. I'm not really using this too much. I've got the Atomos here. Now, I could go ahead and throw better stuff on here, but I'm not really using it, so it doesn't matter too much. And then finally, you guys all know that I'm using the Zorus, and this is the build that I'm using on the Zorus right now. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the highest tier bounty in public. So I'm going to change my party privacy to public, and I'm going to get a lot of Mother tokens. All right, so I went and I did a bounty. I talked to Grandmother. Trade tokens for Entrati standing. Go ahead, hit redeem. Epic. Now we go ahead and we fast travel to Mother. We press Entrati standing. We go ahead, we press rank up, easy peasy, done and dusted. Now we get to choose what we want to pick up. It might be tempting to go for one of these mods because you're probably going to see a lot of videos where these mods are used, but we actually want to go ahead and pick up either the Arioli mutagen or the Zara mutagen because we need these to progress on to the next rank. We need both of them, so pick up one of these blueprints. I'm just going to go ahead and pick up this one here. So once we've ranked up, I'm going to go ahead and fast travel over to Sun. We're going to go ahead, browse wares, and our priority is to pick up the Helminth segment blueprint. So unfortunately, I only have 5,000 standing left for today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and do another bounty. I'm going to get more mother tokens. And then as soon as I have I think it's the 15,000 standing that I need. Yep, as soon as I've got the 15,000 standing that I need, I'm going to go ahead and pick up the Helminth segment blueprint. And as you can see, we need some Adrenal alloy for that. So if you haven't got any Adrenal alloy laying around or you don't have the resources to go ahead and craft more, I recommend going and getting the resources and crafting some. So this is our priority over everything right now, picking up this Helminth segment blueprint. Okay, so I maxed out my standing over on Necrolis for today, and then what I've done is I've came back and I've started crafting a little bit of the Adrenal alloy that I need to actually craft that Helminth segment, which we'll hopefully get tomorrow. Now, I needed a little bit of resources to actually get the Adrenal alloy crafting. As you can probably guess, I needed plastid. So what I did is I went ahead and I started using Necros, who we have leveled to level 30. And the thing with Necros is that you mainly want to focus on having a ton of range, some efficiency, and you want to have the flow mod on. You don't need to have continuity on, and in fact, I'm actually going to go ahead and take that off and throw on equilibrium. These are the 4 mods that you kind of want to prioritize having on Necros to begin with, simply because his Desecrate ability just gives you more loot from the enemies that you kill. So, you know, resource farming and resources, you know, sort of avoiding you is a thing of the past because Necros is just going to make it a lot easier because whenever you get kills, they're going to drop additional loot. So I just threw on Necros. I threw on a build kind of like this, not exactly this. And then all I did is I came over to Uranus and I played the Ophelia Survival and I had the additional 100 plastids that I needed within the space of 5 minutes. Now what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to play some bounties here in Fortuna. I'm going to get to the 22,000 cap that I need to progress on to rank 2, which I can do straight away because I've got all the resources that I need. And then I'm just going to keep on playing bounties until I max out my standing for the day. So I've just ranked up with the Solaris United here and I've got a bunch of options. I'm just going to go ahead and choose one of the mining resources because I'm going to need those to craft stuff later on anyway. So it's definitely a good pickup. And now I'm just going to go ahead and get the additional 15,000 standing. I've made my way over to Cetus and I'm doing some Plains of Eidolon bounties now. Now I'm nowhere near getting to rank 3 over here. But I am just doing the bounties to make some progress. Not really the most important thing for me to do. But if I come to the guy back here where we go into our Midget Man. And if you talk to this guy again, you'll actually notice that he actually has his own standing as well. And what we have to do is we need to go ahead and trade sentient cores for quill standing. So if you have any of these laying around, just go ahead and spend them. Now we need to get some intact sentient cores. We don't want to worry too much about this right now because this isn't like a super essential thing to do. But if you have some of these intact sentient cores in your inventory, just go ahead and rank up here. So it's not important to focus on, just come and check it out, you know? So I have done all of the open world stuff that I can and want to do for today. So the next thing that I'm going to move on to is just cleaning out my inventory a little bit. Clean out my inventory. I'm coming into the dojo and I'm visiting all of the labs again so I can go ahead and pick up all of the potential blueprints that I missed. So any blueprint that I didn't get that I can now pick up, that's what I'm going to get. So I've come back to my foundry and as you can see, like I've got a few more blueprints and stuff like that, but I've got no credits again. So I'm going to go ahead and go to Leo Media and just farm some credits. But instead of using Vault, what I'm going to use is Necros with that little build that we threw together that looks a little bit like this, and then just use my Zorus. And I'm just going to survive for as long as I possibly can on public and just get as many resources and credits from the mission so then I can come back out and I can start crafting a bunch of stuff. So we're going to do a small little Necros tutorial while we're doing this. So Necros' first ability, Soul Punch, literally don't bother with it. It's single target, deals a small amount of damage, and just makes the enemies ragdoll. The second ability, Terrify, is actually quite useful because it scares the enemy, and if they have armor, it actually reduces their armor value. So that's the enemies that have the yellow health bar. So use that versus them. The third ability is an ability which is going to drain your energy whenever you get kills, and that is going to be what rerolls their bodies for extra loot, right? So if you pay attention to a dead body here, you're going to see that it sort of like smokes up eventually, like that. And that's basically Desecrate working on it. Then the fourth ability, it's not so good right now. You can make builds for it, but basically the enemies that you kill, you can summon and they can draw aggro for you, I guess. But later on, you can make this ability a little bit more useful. It's not something that I ever personally build around, but there's potential with that fourth ability. Okay, so I went ahead and I farmed up a 250,000 credits. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to the market and I'm going to be typing in basically weapons that I know are going to consume some of the weapons that I already have to be crafted, basically. So for example, I know that I can get the Boltius because the Boltius consumes, what's it called? A Cronin and a Boltor. So I do need to craft a Cronin as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and double check. Do I have a Cronin blueprint? I do. So I'm going to go down to my foundry here and I'm just going to go ahead and type in Cronin, and I can see that I got to get some plastids and argon crystals before I can go ahead and craft that. So that's going to go on my little to-do list for this episode. But in the meantime, I am going to go ahead and pick up the blueprint for that. I'm going to type in Cernos here. Now you can see that we can get the regular Cernos and then the Mutilus Cernos. So we're going to get the regular one first, and we're also going to get the blueprint for the Mutilus one as well. I want you guys to go ahead and type in Tsar. Now this is a cannon weapon, which is going to consume the Dracoon shotgun that we've got. Go ahead, type in Haiku, pick up the Haiku. We can go ahead and pick up the blueprint for the A Furus, which is dual wield Furus. So just go ahead, pick that up. Now that does mean that you have to pick up another Furus secondary. So we're going to have to craft that as well. Just type it in. Go ahead, get another blueprint like so. We can type in the dual Zorin. Now these are like little sort of machetes that you can pick up. We're going to spend the Atomos and the dual Zorin to make another melee weapon. We could go ahead and pick up a Lado here as well. Now we're going to use the Lado to build the Bolto, which is basically just a better version of it, kinda. So you can see the Bolto, and then we can make two Boltos to make the Ag Bolto, if you see where I'm going with this. So I'm just going to go ahead and pick up a regular Bolto blueprint first here. So I went ahead and I bought a bunch of those blueprints. My credits are pretty low again, but the other thing is my resources are also pretty low. So you can see that I'm lacking in like a lot of plastids, maybe salvage in some areas. So basically all I'm going to do now, guys, is I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to play as many star chart missions as I possibly can. So any of these blue nodes, and then we'll talk about the ones that we might potentially struggle with. But all I want you guys to do is just go ahead and play as many of the star chart missions with Necros so you can actually build up your backlog of resources. And that's kind of just your goal for this episode, is to complete as many star chart missions as possible. After we've completed a bunch of the star chart missions, we're going to come in here and we're just going to start crafting, basically everything that we possibly can. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and equip the Lado and level that as I'm playing, and anything that you can craft, such as the Jilzoran here, just go ahead and start crafting that. So starting from Earth, I'm just going to go ahead and complete as many missions as I possibly can. I'm going to prioritize doing like missions that are normal. So for example, this Saya's Visions here, this is a shrine defense. So that's a little bit different. So I'm not going to touch that right now. I probably could do it, I've got no doubt. But I'm just going to go through and do like the normal defenses, the normal survivals. If you want to, you can take on Vehek here. He drops Hydroid. Your Zorus should be good enough to do that. But I'm just going to go from Earth to Venus, do like all the normal missions, rescues, sabotage, spy, survival, interception, etc. Because I'm a lot stronger now, I can just, do more things and be more efficient while doing them. So I'm just going to do as much as I can and then jump cut and just basically show you everything that I did. And just so you guys don't forget, remember to come down to your midget man and go ahead and spend the focus that you got in your focus skill tree so you can go ahead and, you know, upgrade those abilities. So for example, upgrading Wellspring so you can get more energy regen, or upgrading either Void Siphon or Void Flow. I don't really have a lot of focus right now, so I'm just going to go ahead and do Energy Pulse and commit to those changes. Okay, so I'm back from a few days of basically just completing a bunch of star chart missions. Now, if you look at my star chart here, you're going to see beside some planets this little like blue symbol. So if you look beside Ares here, you can see it. It's beside Mars, Phobos, the Kuva Fortress, Ceres. And that is basically just telling me that I've completed all of the missions on that planet. Now, what I've done is there's a few planets where I haven't completed missions simply because the missions have a little bit more to them. So say, for example, on Earth, we've got this Saya's Vision mission, which I mentioned before. On Jupiter, we have the Rupa Low list. So what we're going to do is we're going to cover these missions now because, of course, they've got a little bit more to them, more rewards, more mechanics, and it's just worth me explaining them. So the first thing is the Saya's Visions mission, and this is basically a mission where you can farm up the Warframe Kome. So I'm just going to go in with the standard loadout that I've got. So that is my Necros, the Heck, the Atomos, and the Zorus. It's very low level, so very easy, and we can also even do this on public because there's going to be other people farming Kome as well. So the first thing we got to do is we got to make our way over to this little Ostron dwelling, press collect the offering, and now we have to deliver the offering to Kome's shrine. We just come over to the shrine here and it says Kome rolls a critical chance blessing. So you get a bunch of buffs just for playing this defense mission, and fortunately for us, there's literally like no way to fail it. All we have to do is stand inside this little circle here. You see how you know, it's blue right now. If an infested were to be inside it, it would be red like so. So just go ahead and keep the infested out of the circle. Then you can go ahead, you can pick up more of those blessings, take them to the shrine, and you can see that you're going to keep on getting these cool buffs. So I'm playing Necro, so all I can do is I can just stand inside this little shrine, go ahead, cast my Terrify, and the enemies are literally going to run away from it. On top of that, because I've got Desecrate on, if I've got a teammate or if I'm killing the enemies, it's going to be getting me more loot and stuff like that. So just keep on picking up the blessings and just keep on delivering them to Kome's shrine. This is an extremely low level mission, so you're going to notice that if you've got the Taxon on or any other companion, like, they're going to be killing the enemies for you. So this is literally just a matter of, you know, letting the areas do their work, picking up the blessing, and then delivering it to the shrine, then killing a bunch of enemies. As you can see, like, all of these infested enemies are just coming out of the water, and my team are literally just nuking them. And then, like, a boss enemy spawns in, so we want to go ahead and take down this boss enemy. Just keep on throwing your Zorus at it. Once you deal enough damage, it's going to say deliver offerings to lure the Oni. So we go ahead and we pick up the little offerings again and deliver it to Kome's shrine. And then you'll be able to kill the boss, and because I've got a team, like, the boss literally just insta-died. Then at the end of this mission, you're going to receive a Fate Pearl, or a lot of them. Now you can come into Cetus and take these Fate Pearls, then spend them over here at Kome's shrine. So what you got to do is you got to press Offer Fate Pearls, and you can see that you can spend them on Kome's blueprints and also her unique weapons as well. So you can see that you can get these weapons at MR2 in the top right hand corner whenever you hover over one. So if you want a few extra weapons and if you want to try out Kome, you know what you got to do now. Next up, I wanted to show the Vehek boss. Now, like I mentioned before, this is where you can farm up Hydroid, and Hydroid is really good right now. So this is Vehek. This is a very, very, very old mission. So Vehek is going to spawn in, but you don't actually have to fight him. You can just go ahead and make your way past him. Just keep on running through the mission, and eventually he's gonna spawn in a new area, just like so. Obviously, if you run into a dead end, just go, like, a different direction. So there's gonna be 3 different locations where Vehek spawns in, and then after the 3rd time that he spawns in, you're eventually gonna get this yellow marker. And the yellow marker is going to take you to this tube. Just go into the tube, slide all the way down, and now it's time to deal damage to Vehek. We just want to go ahead and throw our Zorus at him. Now, as you can see, he's going to keep on zapping our energy. And what we're waiting for is we're waiting for him to actually go ahead and open up his face. Then we throw the Zorus at him and we make it explode. And you can see that we've actually done a big chunk of damage to him. So it's all about just spamming, throwing the Zorus at him and blowing it up whenever he opens his face up. And eventually this little cutscene is going to happen after you deal enough damage to him, where he turns into, like, I don't know, Megamorphin and just fucking a massive mech suit. I don't know, Titanfall ripoff. Just throw the Zorus at him and he's eventually going to die like so. And that's basically the mission done. Now you just run to the exit. And as you can see, at the end of the mission, you get a blueprint or a part blueprint for Hydroid. Then you can move on and play Tikal and finish off Earth, which is what I'm going to do now. For the next mission, we want to go ahead and swap to Rhino. And just for reference, this is the type of build that I'm running on Rhino right now. And we're going to be doing this annoying mission on Deimos. Now, this is just an annoying boss fight, to be honest. So this is a boss that drops a glaive weapon called the Pathicist. It's unique, it's got its uses, but, like, you could ignore it if you want to. Like, you don't have to farm this boss if you don't want. So this is the boss right here, and he's got different phases. So the first phase is simply, we're just going to go ahead and throw our Zorus at him phase. As you can see, he's kind of tanky, but he really doesn't deal any damage to us. And if he does, I mean, we're just going to go ahead and cast Iron Skin anyway. And you can see that he staggers backwards after we dealt enough damage to him. Now we want to go ahead and follow the waypoint here. And once we get into this big room, you're going to see that the boss is completely immune. And that's because of the grey health bar that he's got up there at the top. Now we want to run over to the red waypoint. And we're going to find this red circle. We need to kill this Bastion here. And the Bastion, once dead, is going to drop a little light that we can pick up. Now we want to take this light. And we want to go over to the boss, wherever he might be. He's going to be in this big room, and we just want to, like, get into the light and just throw our Zorus at him while he is, you know, in the light with us, right? And that's the only way that you can deal damage to the boss. Now, once you deal enough damage, he's going to start healing himself by, like, draining the life of the surrounding infested. You want to go ahead and just kill those infested so he can't heal a ton of health. And then you repeat the process. You go ahead and you find that Bastion again. You kill the Bastion, he's going to drop that little light. You take the light, and then you run into the big room where the boss is hanging out. And then you go ahead and you throw your Zorus at the boss while he is in the light with you. Then implying you've dealt enough damage to him, he's going to go into that healing phase again. And you just want to go ahead and kill all of the enemies that he's draining the health from. And you just want to repeat this process until the boss is dead. If you're knocking yourself over with your Zorus, make sure to have your Iron Skin casted. And if you feel like you're not dealing enough damage, make sure to have your Roar casted. That's it. And I've just took him down, and I got a unidentified item. Now you're going to find out what that item is at the end of the mission. And as you can see, at the end, we got a blueprint for the Pathicist Glaive. I don't recommend farming that just yet. Like, just wait until much later on, whenever you're much stronger. Now you're going to notice, even though you've completed all of the nodes here in Deimos, you don't have that little symbol beside it. That's because we're going to unlock, like, an extended part of Deimos later on after all of the quests. And it's important for us to have this little symbol beside all of the planets, simply because we need that to unlock the Steel Path mode, which is basically a harder version of the star chart, which is going to get us a lot of good loot later on. Next up, you might be tempted to try and take on the Rupa low list. Now, it's pointless for us to try this right now, simply because we need to use our Midget Man to deal damage to his shields with our Amp, and our Amp is really weak. So we're going to skip this, we're going to do some other stuff, which is going to buff up our Operator, and then we're going to come back here. So that takes us all the way over to Pluto here, and we're going to do the node Hades. Now, to do this, we need to have 5 Animo nav beacons, and I have exactly 5. Now, what you want to do is you want to play missions here in Pluto, and you're going to get an enemy that spawns in called the Ambulus. You want to kill that enemy, and then hack it, and it's going to drop these nav beacons for you to enable you to do this mission. It looks like a MOA, basically, and it comes in from a dropship. It's pretty distinct. It's hard to miss. You just kill it, hack it, you get those beacons, and then you can do this mission here. So I'm just going to go ahead, jump in, and do this boss mission and show you exactly what it looks like and how to take the boss down. You're eventually going to come into this room. Just go ahead and hack this console. Ambulance is going to spawn in down in this arena, so we got to make our way down there. So this is what Ambulance looks like, and basically the idea behind this guy is every single time that you kill him, he's gonna be put into like a down state, and the lore is that the corpus can just like pick him up and repair him, right? So just go ahead, cast your roar, cast your iron skin, keep on throwing your Zorus at him until he eventually dies. Once you've dealt enough damage, just go ahead and hack his back like so. It's going to be the same in all of the other missions that you do whenever he just like randomly spawns in. You can hack him and get those beacons. And now we just have to defend him. Now keep all of the corpus away from him. Don't let the corpus hack him. You can see under the map there, it says hacked ambulances delivered. So we actually have to kill 3 ambulances. And we can only let the corpus like restore the ambulance 3 times, right? If we let the corpus restore the ambulance 3 times, the mission is basically over. We failed. So just kill the corpus as soon as they spawn in and protect that ambulance for as long as it asks you to. And basically, we just rinse and repeat that process until we've done it to 3 of the ambulances. So once you've defeated 3 of the ambulances, that ship is going to carry the 3rd one to that big ship, and then this big ship is going to explode as it goes away. It's quite a slow process. From this boss, you can farm up Trinity, and I would say that it's absolutely not worth coming in here to farm up Trinity this early on in the game. She's not like a must-have frame. As you can see, I ended up getting the Trinity chassis. This is more of a, like, if you really, like, have extra time to kill and you've done everything else, you can come and do this, but it's not worth focusing on right now. Now we can move on to Sedna, and as you can see here on Sedna, we have these arena missions. Now these are a unique type of mission that are also kind of slow too. So we're just going to go ahead and jump in, and I'm going to show you what these missions are all about. So you spawn into this mission, and what's going to happen is these unique enemies are going to spawn in. You just want to go ahead and kill them. I believe we have to kill 25 of them, and then we're done. Like, a lot of Warframe players do the highest tier of this game mode to farm Endo. Like, they do it in a very specific way where they run a Necros, they bring a Nidus to basically grip the enemies, and then a frame that's going to kill the enemies extremely quickly. It's a very old way of farming Endo. Like, there's a lot of activities in the game that you have to do now that will also passively drop you Endo. And also there's like the weekly stuff too, right? So for example, you know, running your Ayatin treasures, like getting one of those every single week. You've got the bounties in the Cambion Drift Necrolist. They drop a lot of Endo as well. So it's up to you whether or not you want to invest into like making a loadout to come into the highest tier version of this to farm up Endo. It's definitely a thing that you can do, but it's not something that I have done in literally years. And I find that just by doing the activities that I want to do, I end up getting enough Endo to rank up my mods and stuff like that. But as you can see, like, this is super easy. I'm just like looking at my mini map, trying to find the enemy spawning in. I'm running over to them. I'm throwing my Zorus, and then I'm one-shotting them, and then they're dropping some of that Endo. For the sake of having fun in Warframe, I personally don't recommend like doing a mission like this to farm like one specific resource. I think that totally kills the vibe of the game. It's the same for like the index, right? Like technically the index is a really good spot for farming credits, but it's so boring to play, and it's the same with this game mode in my opinion. Like, it's a good place to farm Endo, yeah, but it's also incredibly boring and just kills the vibe. 25th kill, victory, and as you can see, like, literally nothing special happens. At the end of the mission, we get this stuff called judgment points. Now, we're going to need these judgment points to actually kill the boss, Kayla of Fame, here on Sedna. So you need 25, I've only got 10, so what we want to do now is we want to go ahead and do the next arena mission. So I'm going to go ahead and put on Necros because I can actually get a little bit more Endo that way, just to make this, you know, a little bit more worth it. And you can go ahead and throw this on public to speed it up a little bit as well. Alright, so I've got my 25 judgment points, so I can go ahead and I can play Mero now. I'm going to swap back to my Rhino Warframe. Now from Mero, from Kayla to Fame, you can farm up the Warframe Saren, who is quite a good Warframe, but it just comes down to whether or not you want to run, you know, these arena missions to get the judgment points to then run this mission over and over again right now. I'm going to say no, you don't want to do that right now because there's more important stuff to do and we can get stronger and come back here later and do it more efficiently. But right now, we're just going to go ahead, we're going to jump into Mero and we're going to get the mission done for the first time. So what's going to happen is eventually you're going to come into this room here and this platform is going to have a certain amount of buttons lit up depending on the amount of players that are in your squad. So because I'm solo, only one button is lit up, so I just have to stand on this and then shoot that little thing on the wall. This little cutscene is going to happen and it's just going to put us up into the arena. And basically the same thing is going to happen. Like Kayla's going to spawn in, just go ahead, you know, use your Iron Skin, your Roar, throw your Zorus over at her to deal enough damage to her, and eventually she's going to become immune. She's going to jump away, then she's going to shoot rockets into the arena. Now what you can do is you can just go ahead and stay on the middle platform, go into your midget man, and then whenever this little timer hits 0, just go ahead and crouch. And what's going to happen is you're going to go invisible, and these missiles are going to deal no damage to you. Now you stand on this button again and go ahead and shoot the button on the wall 4 times. Now hopefully I can get this done in time. There we go. And you have to do that for all 4 of the buttons. And then whenever that orbital strike comes in, you want to just go ahead, go into your operator and then just go invisible. That is, of course, if you're not playing Rhino. If you're playing Rhino, you can just go ahead and tank it with your Iron Skin. You know, that's a viable option as well. But it's just a matter of, you know, shooting these little things on the wall while standing on the buttons. And then Kayla's going to spawn back in and we can deal damage to her after we're done with this. So we've done all 4 of the buttons on the floor and all of the buttons on the wall. Kayla's going to spawn back in again in the center of the arena. Go ahead for the Zorus yet again. And then once you deal enough damage to her, she's going to go immune again, and we're just gonna have to stand on the buttons and shoot the buttons on the wall. This is the last sort of phase. We just go ahead and we throw a Zorus at Kayla now until she dies. So eventually you're gonna take Kayla down. Just go ahead, come through this door and head to the exit. At the end of the mission, you'll see the serum part that you got. Now, what you'll notice after you get out of the mission with Kayla is that you're not able to go and do Vodunoi straight away because you spent judgment points to go and fight Kayla. So you have to do Yam again before you can do Vodunoi. So you have to have the judgment points to go into a mission before you can... Yeah, it's a whole process. It's quite annoying. I don't recommend, like, bothering with farming Saren right now because, again, you're going to be able to come back later. You're going to be able to make it more efficient, but I do recommend getting Vodunoi out of the way now. So go and do Yam, do Vodunoi, and just get that out of the way. Over here on Lua, we have Conjunction Survivals. Now, these are basically just survival missions, but sometimes these enemies are going to spawn in, which is going to make the life support drain a little bit faster. So I'm just going to jump in and show you guys what it looks like. So from this mission, I believe we're also able to get parts for the Warframe Varuna. Now, Varuna's pretty good. I wouldn't knock you if you wanted to farm up Varuna's parts. But as you'll see here, we get into this like little void area and we get an increase of ability strength and casting speed. So our Terrify strips more armor and it casts faster, which is quite nice. It's literally just survival. Like, all you gotta do is run around and survive. This is the guy that's gonna, like, I guess, buff up your Terrify cast or whatever Warframe cast you happen to be running. So if you just want to stay beside him, well, you'll have more strength and faster casting speed. Yeah, so we can farm up a weapon called the Perigale, a weapon called the Sorrowfang, and then all of Faruna's part blueprints drop from Rotation C. So that's 20 minutes in. So every 20 minutes, you're going to have a chance at getting one of the blueprints for Faruna, including her main blueprint as well. So every Rotation A, you're going to have a chance at getting the Perigale blueprint, Sorrowfang blueprint, so that's 5 minutes and 10 minutes. And then Rotation B, every 15 minutes, you're going to have a chance at getting the Perigale barrel, Perigale receiver, Perigale stock, Sorrowfang blade, and Sorrowfang handle. So if you just want to do these conjunction survivals to get that stuff, I mean, fair play, just go ahead and do it. So now you're going to get to the point where these Frax enemies spawn in and they start to drain the life support. Just go ahead, throw your Zorus at them, and if they go into like a spectral form, you can finish them off with your Operator's Beam. So now that I've done that mission, I'm just going to go ahead and extract. Then the next mission on Lua is basically the exact same thing, except there's more rewards in the drop table. Or different rewards, I should say. So as you can see, Circulus is also just a conjunction survival, except the drop table is a little bit different. So you've got more of a chance of getting the parts for the weapons and also the parts for Faruna. Of course, it's much higher level, as you can see, level 103 to 105, and then 25 to 30. So if you want to, you can definitely come in here and try surviving 5 minutes. But if you're not comfortable doing that right now, that's okay. You can skip it and we can come back later and complete it later. But I'll have the drop table displayed on screen just so you can see how big of a difference there is from the last one to this new one. And you can see that you can farm Varuna a little bit more efficiently in this mission. There's also cool arcans that you can get from here as well. But they're not must-have necessities, you know what I mean? I just realized that I skipped past Europa. On Europa, there is this Raptor boss, and he's a little bit different, so we're going to go ahead and check him out. You can farm Nova from this boss. She's really good. Alright, so this is the Raptor. What you want to do is go ahead and throw your Zorus at it. It will then die, and it will drop a little bomb. Go ahead, pick the bomb up, come to this little portal, drop the bomb into the portal, and that's it. We need to do this 3 times, and then we have defeated the boss. This is my second like battery bomb thing. We just go ahead, drop it in like so, boom, easy peasy. One more time, Raptor spawn in, throw Zorus make Raptor go boom. We pick up little bomb, drop bomb in the portal thingy, we make portal go boom. Mission accomplished. And at the end of this mission, we get our Nova chassis. So as you can see, I have basically almost completed all of the nodes on all of the planets. And that's really good because that gives us access to more alerts, more invasions, more relic missions, and it also has given us access to, of course, do sorties and stuff like that. Now, sorties are quite difficult. They're a daily activity, and I'm going to cover them in more detail in the next episode. But just know that because we've completed like basically everything on the star chart here, we've got access to do more stuff. So I really want you guys to stay on top of doing the invasions because I really want you guys to get more of the detonite injectors, mutagen mass, and field drawn that we need to craft more weapons. I really want you guys to consider just opening your relics. This is especially good if you've got a LeyzarGamingViews installed. Now, I want you guys to focus on being efficient, so doing missions like capture, exterminate, etc. to get these relic missions done as fast as possible. And while you're doing these missions, of course, run Necros to have that Desecrate ability on so you get more resources. Now, if we come down to my foundry here and we go to the Ready to Craft tab, you can see that I have a bunch of things that are just ready to craft now because I have a bunch more resources. What I want you guys to do is take a look at this little thing that I've got up on screen now. This is basically just a big list of all of the weapons that are used in crafting and the weapon that we get at the end after we use them. So for example, I mentioned the Boltius, right? So that consumes the Boltor plus the Kronen to make the Boltius. Everything that you can see on the screen now are just weapons that are used in crafting. So go for these weapons first. Go ahead and craft the final weapons. So use the Cernos to make the Mutilus Cernos. Use the Dragoon to make the Czar, and so on and so forth. Then that way you're going to get like the most tedious sort of like weapons out of the way first and be really efficient whenever it comes to getting more mastery rank. I just wanted to throw this up here because a lot of people say like, I don't know what to go for first. This is the stuff that you want to go for first, and this is just the stuff that you want to keep in mind so then you can, get as much mastery as fast as you possibly can. But as for me, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through my list here and I'm going to see like the blueprints that I've got that actually require something else to craft. So I've leveled my Lado to level 30. So I'm going to go ahead and make the Bolto now like so. That's going to free up a slot for me. I'm going to go ahead and craft the Cernos because why not? I'll craft the Dread because that doesn't consume any Forma. So I'm just trying to prioritize stuff that doesn't consume Forma first of all. The Guandal, I can craft that. The Heat, I can craft that. The Haiku, I can craft that. The Latron, we can pick that up. The Mire, we can go ahead and craft that. The Penta. The Sidon's going to consume the Amphis, so I'm going to go ahead and craft that real quick. The Tsar is going to consume the Dragoon, so let's get rid of the Dragoon. I can go ahead and craft the Scourge here, and that's going to take some of my Nighting that I got from Nightwave, so I got to keep that in mind. I've got the Cronus from killing Vor on Mercury, so I can get that crafting. The Lekda doesn't consume any Forma. But there's the Cero, so I'll craft that. As you can see, I've got a bunch more weapons crafting. I even have some to claim because, well, you know, there's been days where I haven't really been playing. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to wait for the stuff to craft, and I'm going to claim anything that's already been crafted. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to level stuff so I can get up to Mastery Rank 9. Now, in the next episode, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about farming prime warframes and weapons and stuff like that. And then we'll like double down on like trading specific prime sets and stuff like that. So we can actually start to make some platinum to make the game a lot more efficient. That way we won't have to spend as much time on, you know, just doing like sort of tedious stuff, you know what I mean? Like farming resources. We could spend some platinum on resource boosters and stuff like that. Now, if you wanted to, if you've already been playing relic missions, just keep in mind that you should be crafting Forma in your foundry as well. And if you have been crafting Forma in your foundry, well, that's going to put you miles ahead of, you know, everybody else who hasn't been crafting Forma. Because as you can see, if we just go ahead and we type Forma into the search bar here, you can see that there's a bunch of weapons that I have to craft that actually require Forma, right? So it's in your best interest to have a ton of Forma crafting because we need a ton of Forma to craft a ton of weapons. So invasions, running relic missions to get Forma blueprints and prime blueprints, using Necros to get more resources, craft as many weapons as you possibly can. That is basically the takeaway from this episode. Make sure to stay on top of your standings, so go ahead, rank up with the Red Veil, Steel Meridian, etc. if you can. And yeah, I think I'm going to leave this episode off here. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed it, go ahead, hit like, hit subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.